Hey guys, so in this video, I will show you how to install all the software required for MSIS 671. So this is basically the list of software we need for MSIS 671. So first of all, we need the database engine. We will use SQL Server 2022 for the engine. Right, we also need the developer edition for the SQL Server engine because this is the free version. And additionally, we also need to install analysis service extension to the SQL Server engine because we need the data warehousing capabilities. After installing SQL Server 2022, we will be moving on to SQL Server Management Studio, or so-called SSMS, which is the client side of the database. And additionally, we also install Visual Studio 2022. And for the same reason, we want a free edition, that is community edition for Visual Studio. And similarly, we also need the analysis service extension to support the data warehousing and the data queue operations. And finally, we want the Microsoft 365, which is free for the students in my course. You can download it from the university's official web page. I will show you how later. Okay, so let's get started. But before you start to download anything, I want to remind you that we're gonna need installing all the software inside the AWS EC2 environment instead of your physical laptop or desktop. So just make sure you are connecting to your AWS EC2 environment and see this floating bar on top of your screen. You will also have a Microsoft Edge pre-installed in your AWS EC2 environment. And you can open the web browser to search the software name to start downloading. So let's get started with the SQL Server. Okay, so you can search SQL Server 2022, which is the latest version for this semester. So here, make sure to go to the official website from Microsoft. In my case, it didn't come with the top search yet, so I have to scroll down to get the official Microsoft.com and find this downloads link. I've also put the link to the canvas so you can directly access to it. Okay, so in this download page, you want to scroll down to the bottom to download the developer edition because the standard edition provided by Microsoft is not free, and you don't want to spend hundreds or even thousands of dollars to use their product for this course. Okay, so make sure you scroll down to find this developer edition download link and hit download now, which will download the installation software on your EC2 environment. So hit open file link to start the installation. Okay, so if you're waiting longer than what my video shows, that's pretty normal because I have edited my video to save some of your time. Okay, so between the three options provided by this download wizard, we need to choose the custom option in the middle. The basic option is only for the standard users who only use the basic OLTP database functionalities. But in this course, we need to download and install the analysis service extension to SQL Server, which supports data warehousing OLAP operations. So that's why we have to choose the custom installation option in the middle. Okay, and hit install. Okay, so this custom installation option will start a number of steps where you will configure like usernames and logins, what packages and what modules you want to add to your database engine. And once again, you may need to wait longer than I am waiting because I have edited the video to speed up. So please be patient for the software file to be downloaded to your EC2 instance. Okay, so when it's ready, you will see this SQL Server Installation Center to show up. And from there, please switch to Installation and New SQL Server Standalone Installation, which is the first option in the list, which will really starts the installation, the manual custom installation process. So as you can see from this custom installation option, you need to go through a couple of steps to finish the installation. But luckily, we can just hit next in the first step. Okay. Accept the license terms in the second step and move on. Okay, I'm gonna skip using Microsoft Update because I don't want it. Okay, just click through all the way up to install rules. So there you will see a warning sign on the Windows Firewall, but that is okay. We will configure the Windows Firewall later on to allow access from outside. Hit next. We don't need Azure extension for SQL Server, so uncheck it and next. Now, here comes the most important step in the custom installation, which is the feature selection step. This is where we decide what components and modules we want to add to the SQL Server Developer Edition. So what we need is first the database engine services, and under this category we want analysis service. Actually, it's not belonging to this category, but basically we need the database engine service to be checked, plus the analysis services to be checked. Okay, and we don't have to select any other options here. Okay, all we need is, once again, database engine services plus analysis services, because these two modules are the minimum requirements we need to perform the OLAP operations using SQL Server 2022 for this course. Okay, so after selecting these two options, you can hit next. Okay, you can also hit next in the instance configuration step. Okay, in the server configuration step, there's one service which is by default disabled. That is SQL Server Browser. So please change it from disabled to automatic and hit next. Okay, so the database engine configuration step is the second most important step during this installation process. So by default, its authentication mode has been selected as Windows authentication mode. But here we want to switch it to mixed mode that allows both Windows authentication and SQL Server authentication. So what it means is that we want it to be able to accessed. Okay, we want our database to be accessed using username and a password combination rather than using the Windows credential check. Okay, so please switch to the mixed mode, authentication mode, and enter your own secret password. Okay, so this is the password you will be using as your system admin password to log in to your SQL server. Okay, I'm setting up my own secret password. You need to set your own secret system admin password and make sure you remember it. Okay, so don't lose it. If you're not sure, please write it down somewhere. So after setting the password and confirming the same password has been entered, you can hit the Add Current User button here. Okay, then hit Next. Okay, so in the next step, Analysis Services Configuration, please switch to multi-dimensional mode and also hit the Add Current User. Then Next. Okay, so that's basically all the changes we need to make. So we can just hit Install button to start the installation process, which may take you 10 to 20 minutes, so please be patient. I'm gonna edit my video to skip this process. Okay, here we go. Now the installation of the SQL Server 2022 is done, so we can close it. Okay, so the next software we want to install is the SSMS, or say SQL Server Management Studio. So a shortcut to the download page is provided in the SQL Server Installation Center app. So you can simply click this link, which will direct you to the download page for SSMS. But in case you accidentally closed the SQL Server Installation Center and don't know where to find it, that's okay, because you can always go to your favorite search engine, such as Bing or Google, whichever you like, and you can simply search SSMS to easily find the download link for SSMS. Okay. So usually it comes with the first search hit if you're using a decent search engine. Okay. And from there, you can find the link called Free Download for SQL Server Management Studio SSMS. And the latest version seems to be 19.3 as of January 2024. So the installation of the SSMS is relatively simpler than SQL Server Developer Edition. All you need to do is to wait for the download to finish and hit the .exe setup file. So unlike SQL Server Developer Edition, all you need to do here is to hit the install button. You don't have to choose between multiple options in every single step. Okay, all you do is one click install button. Okay, here we go. So after the installation, it will ask you to reboot your computer to complete the setup. So in this case, the restart or rebooting means restarting your Amazon EC2 instance instead of restarting your physical laptop or so. But actually, we can ignore the restarting option for now, because we will also install Visual Studio that also asks you to restart the EC2 instance. So we can wait until all the software has been installed, then we can restart and finalize all the installation process. So for now, we can just hit the close button. and move on to the installation of Visual Studio. So for installation of Visual Studio, we can search Visual Studio in the search engine and locate the download link from, once again, the official website, the Visual Studio. So here it is, the visualstudio.microsoft.com downloads. Okay, so don't be tempted to download the free trial, which will charge you money after the trial period. But we can download the community edition by scrolling down to this web page, which is completely free for everyone in this class. So free download for community edition, and wait for the setup software, the setup exe to be downloaded, and open it. Continue and just wait. So after the waiting, you will see this Visual Studio Installation Center interface, which asks you to select all the components that you want to add to the Visual Studio. So here we don't need most of them. The only thing we need is under the other two sets called Data Storage and Processing Suite. Okay, for here, actually we can skip the Azure Data Lake for this course. We don't need it to save 1 GB space, but it's okay to leave it there as well. So make sure you selected the SQL Server Data Tools and .NET Framework options under the suite, and wait for the installations to complete. So actually, during the waiting, it's a good idea to make some configurations to your already downloaded SQL Server. One of them is to do something for the Windows firewall. Okay, so that previously gave you some warning sign. So we can unblock the firewall that potentially blocks SQL Server connection by changing some settings in the Windows Defender firewall with Advanced Security app. So you can find this app by searching firewall in the start menu of your Windows. Okay, so don't be daunted by these many options and parameters in the Windows firewall, because what we need to do is to edit the inbound rules. Okay, so please switch to the inbound rules on the left-hand side panel and hit Add New Rule. Okay, so here's the existing rules that is preset to Amazon EC2 Windows instance. So what we are trying to do now is to add a new rule saying it allows the outside SQL Server connection to reach the data warehouse. The data warehouse that we are trying to install in this EC2 instance. Okay, so all we need to do is to add a new rule here. Okay, add a new rule by port number. Hit next. And TCP port 1433. Okay, so please add 1433 as specific local ports to this protocol and the port option. Okay, and it allows such connection. Okay, so keep the default option here, hit next. Okay, leave all the options here, hit next. Okay, and give it a name such as SQL Server connection, okay, which allows SQL Server connection from outside the EC2 instance to reach the database or data warehouse we are installing in the EC2. Okay, but the name and description here are optional. I'm typing them just to let you know what they are. Okay, so this is the new rule that we just added, which counts as the first security options we need to configure. Okay. And the second configuration we want to touch is called SQL SQL Server 2022 Configuration Manager. So in order to locate this, you can search SQL Server, which gives you a list of apps starting with SQL Server 2022 namings. But the one that we need to access is the one with this red icon, which should be a first aid medical box. Okay, but please choose the SQL Server 2022 Configuration Manager app. Okay, so which will open this interface for you. So here, what we need to do is to expand the SQL Server network configuration and then further expand the protocols for MS SQL Server, which shows you that shared memory is enabled by default, but two other protocols are disabled by default. So as you guessed right, we need to enable all of them. Okay, so to do so, you need to right-click on each disabled protocol, then select Enable. Okay. So once again, right-click on the disabled protocol such as TCP/IP, then Enable. It will ask you, give you a warning saying any changes made will be saved. However, they will not take effect until the service is stopped and restarted. Okay, so that's what we need to do actually by going back to the SQL Server Services option listed here. Okay, and locate the service named as SQL Server MS SQL Server, okay, whose state is currently running. As the warning sign indicated, we need to stop it. Okay, right click and stop it. It takes several seconds to stop the service and then restart it. Okay, so when you see it's stopped, then right click it again, then start it. Okay, so this will complete the reboot. I'm not rebooting the EC2 instance, but restarting the database engine which came from the SQL Server 2022 Developer Edition. Okay, so while we are doing these configurations, it seems that the Visual Studio installation is also completed. So now let me see whether we can launch it. Okay, so if you have a Microsoft account, you can use it to sign in, or you can create a new account. I'm gonna skip it for now and start Visual Studio. Okay, I'm doing this to verify the installation was completed with no errors. Okay, so it seems to be opening correctly, so we can continue without the code. So we are doing this because there's one last extension we need to install, which is the analysis service component to support the OLAP or data cube operations we need for this course. So we can install that extension by choosing this extension from the navigation bar and hit the Manage Extensions. Okay, so from there, please search Analysis in this search box, which will give you this Microsoft Analysis Service Projects 2022 as the first hit. Okay, so this is the thing we need to download into Visual Studio. So that button will download this Microsoft Data Tools Analysis Service.vsix file onto your EC2. So please open it. Okay, you only need to hit it once. It takes a while to respond, but please don't click it twice or 3 times. It's gonna open multiple, you don't want to open multiple installation processes. Okay, so while we are waiting for the VSIX installer to start, a good recommendation is close it. Okay, please close the Visual Studio. Okay, please close the Visual Studio because it's gonna interrupt with the VSIX installer. Okay, so please close all the Visual Studio related applications that is running, except this VSIX installer. Okay, so please install the Visual Studio Analysis Service Projects to Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition, which gonna take quite a while. Okay, so the installation is complete now. Okay, so the last software you may want to install is the Office 365. It's free for UMass Boston students, so you can search for Office 365 UMass Boston. Okay, and locate a link with the text "Visit Installation Instructions" and hit the Get Microsoft Office Now button to start the installation. So the installation process for Office 365 is quite straightforward, so I'm gonna skip it in this video. So now we have completed all the software installation, but in order for all the installations to take effect, the last step you need to do is to restart the EC2 instance. So we can do so easily by from the start menu, power, and restart. Okay, so this will actually shut down your Amazon EC2 instance, but it won't shut down your own computer, as you can see here. My own computer is not shut down. The thing being shut down is the Amazon EC2 virtual environment. But unfortunately, it doesn't really restart the Amazon EC2 instance automatically as the power on off option suggested. We have to manually reconnect to the EC2 instance, which is MSIS 671 instance once again, by following all the steps that we have already learned in the previous video. In case you forgot it, this is a good chance to review it. So we can switch to RDP client. This only applies to Windows users. Get password. Upload private key file. And select the corresponding PEM file you have created during the EC2 launch process. Decrypt password. Copy the password, then download remote desktop file. Then open the remote desktop file, hit connect, and paste the password that you just copied to clipboard, and hit OK. Okay, so all of these are something we have done before. And now we have re-entered, or say reconnected to AWS EC2 environment. Okay, so as the last part of this video, let's verify that both the SQL Server 2022 the engine, SSMS, and Visual Studio and all their extensions have been successfully installed. Okay, so let's start with the SSMS. Okay, so you can search SSMS from the start menu and look for SQL Server Management Studio 19 app. Okay, and then it will give you this login box, which gives you a default server name and Windows authentication to start. But here, let's switch the Windows authentication to SQL Server authentication. And there, please press SA, enter SA as the login or the username. And the password is the secret password that you have created during the installation process. And hit connect. Okay. So if you are able to log in to your SQL Server using the SA username and the system admin password that you created, then it means both your SSMS and SQL Server 2022 Developer Edition have been successfully installed. And next, let's verify that Visual Studio 2022 and its extension has been installed. So you can search Visual Studio from the Start menu and then start the Visual Studio and continue. Please select Create a New Project this time. Okay. Or there, if you see a project type named Analysis Service Multidimensional Project is available to you, it means this installation and extension has been successfully installed. Okay, so we can hit next to create such multidimensional project that allows data cube operations to be performed later on. But in case you don't see such analysis extension multidimensional project type available, then you have to reinstall the VSIX file from the extension, manage extension, and search analysis. Okay, this is what we have done previously. Okay, you should have no problem with this extension, but just in case, you need to verify that the Microsoft Analysis Service Projects 2022 is successfully installed, verified by this green check mark. Okay, so that concludes the software installation in Amazon AWS EC2 and verifying all those installations are correctly done. Okay, so that's all for this video. Thank you for watching.